The Wuhan flu, Chinese coronavirus, COVID-19, or simply coronavirus, as some prefer to call it, needs no introduction. Never in a million years would anyone think the whole world would force everyone to stay indoors, until the epidemic happened. The virus first appeared in China, and in less than 2 months it spread to every continent in the world. But where did it come from? Conspiracy theories have their own version of the truth. Today we share with you 10 of the craziest conspiracy theories around the virus. Make sure you watch till the end for the craziest of them all. But before we begin, why don't you hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on any of our videos? Now, let's begin, shall we? And we'll start with the most common theory so far: someone ate bat soup. The well-known scientific fact is that the coronavirus used to be encountered only in bats and not passed on to humans. But someone broke the vicious cycle, so the coronavirus was able to mutate and successfully assimilate into the human body. But who was patient zero? The theory started with a Chinese travel blogger. She became a victim of conspiracy theories after the video of her eating a bat went viral. She was accused of contracting the virus and spreading it to other people. Later, the Chinese government made the influencer apologize for eating the bat. She added that the video was filmed in 2016, 3 years before the emergence of the COVID-19 virus. It also wasn't filmed in China. It was filmed in Palau, an island nation in the Pacific Ocean. Today, we know that this blogger was not patient zero, but she could give people a bad idea of eating these lovely pets. At number 9, we have the cause of most conspiracy theories existing: the United States government. Rumor has it that the US government has created a Chinese coronavirus. This statement was made for the first time by the Russian news on Channel 1 during a live news broadcast. The newscaster stated that the US government created a virus to destroy China's economy. He added that the US may have also created it so that they could sell the vaccine to the Chinese. The main argument of the proponent of the theory was that the corona word is a word of Latin origin. As we all know, President Trump used to be a judge at beauty pageants and was sometimes responsible for the coronation of the winner. The host said it was the reason the virus was named after the crown. Meanwhile, scientists say they named the virus after its coronary-like form. Coming up next, number 8. Can an ordinary person be responsible for spreading the epidemic? What if that person is a comedian? Samuel Hyde is an American comedian, writer, performance artist, and actor. Some people, however, believe that he should also be famous for starting the coronavirus epidemic. This claim is believed to be part of a walking joke, blaming Hyde for every accident that occurs in the US. As it happens, Hyde has been mentioned in almost every mass shooting in the US. The charges sometimes became a little more serious, as was the case after a fatal shooting in Texas in 2017. It's a classic example of a joke that went too far. At number 7, we have a theory that some unknown person or a group of people created the coronavirus out of HIV. Not all conspiracy theories have specific authors. For example, here we have an anonymous group of Indian scientists. The researchers say that the COVID-19 virus has similarities with HIV-1. The most surprising thing is that it's enough to prove the connection of COVID-19 with HIV. The scientists even published an article on awaiting consideration research page. Researchers didn't name themselves, so we don't know the people responsible. The article provoked controversy, which led the administration of the research page to withdraw it. Up next, we have the Chinese government as another source of conspiracy theory. The Chinese government has been known to hide the presence of a coronavirus in its country from the rest of the world for as long as possible. Even today, no one can confidently account for the number of coronavirus victims in China, as the entire flow of information from there is controlled by the government. Some people believe that China created the COVID-19 virus as part of its biological weapons program. They say that the virus leaked from the lab, causing an epidemic. This lab is part of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which is located in Wuhan. This laboratory is a national biosafety laboratory. It's the only Chinese state facility capable of conducting research into deadly viruses. As we remember, this is the same city where the epidemic started. These claims arose out of a statement made by Chinese President Xi Jinping immediately after the outbreak. He said that the safety of the lab was a matter of national security. The next day, the Chinese Ministry of Science and Technology issued instructions on how to secure laboratories to prevent the virus from leaking. Conspiracy theories support their claims by the fact that viruses had previously been leaked from Chinese laboratories. Fatal severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS. This virus was released twice. At number 5, we have, surprisingly, the Canadian government. Some people believe that the Canadian government, led by Justin Trudeau, a social science teacher, created the COVID-19 virus in a national microbiological laboratory in Winnipeg, Canada. The laboratory is a Canadian state institute that exhumes deadly viruses, just like in Wuhan, China. Conspiracy theorists say that 2 Chinese spies stole the virus and then sent it to the Chinese Institute of Virology, where it eventually caused an epidemic. The duo worked in the Winnipeg lab until they were suddenly fired in 2019. Conspiracy theorists stated that they were fired for stealing samples of the virus and sending it to China. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police denied that, saying that they had been fired for administrative, not political reasons. But who's telling the truth? You could be surprised at this point, asking, how can a comedian or the Canadian government cause a worldwide epidemic? But what about a bottle of beer? Corona Extra is a brand of beer brewed in Mexico. Needless to say, it is not connected to the coronavirus and does not summon or distribute it. The beer received its name from the Spanish and Latin words for the crown, and the virus was named because of its coronary shape. Although no one has actually claimed that it causes or spreads the virus, it seems that people already cherish these claims. Google was flooded with Corona beer virus, and beer coronavirus requests. The Corona Extra brand has suffered a name crisis since the outbreak, but is it really a crisis? The Corona Extra brand claims that their sales have increased by 5% since January. This statement is a PR masterpiece, of course, but it's also something more, a lesson of emotional intelligence. The market share of Corona has actually increased according to the company data. Good for them. Something you wouldn't say about a diet candy called AIDS, which suffered a 50% drop in sales after people thought it was causing AIDS back in the 1980s. Indeed, sometimes people's demand and behavior can be unpredictable. Something incredible happened in northeast China in the early hours of October 11, 2019. In third place, we have nothing less than a meteorite explosion. The meteorite exploded in the sky just after midnight, triggering an intense flash that made the night sky as bright as the day. Conspiracy theorists have now seized upon this incident. They're speculating that the virus was spaceborne and a meteorite brought it to Earth. Scientists say it's unlikely because the meteorite hadn't landed, burning in the atmosphere. If it did, they don't think that the virus could survive the extreme landing temperature. Meteorites that don't burn in the atmosphere can reach 1,198 degrees Fahrenheit by the time they touch the ground. That's more than enough to kill the virus a few times over. Dr. Domenico Sparks added that the COVID-19 virus most likely originated here on the ground, as it has much in common with severe acute respiratory syndrome such as SARS and Near Eastern MERS respiratory syndrome. All 3 viruses belong to a group of virus called coronaviruses. We know that SARS and MERS have originated here on the planet. Up next, in second place, we have the very relevant theory, especially for our British friends, 5G influence. Wuhan was one of the first Chinese cities to receive 5G internet. This was the same city where the COVID-19 virus first appeared. Is that a coincidence? Dana Ashley says it's not. Ashley believes that the COVID-19 was caused by radiation waves released by the 5G internet. She based her claims on 2 years of research work that showed that the 5G was dangerous to human health. Ashley says the so-called coronavirus is actually radiation poisoning. She says it weakens the immune system and leaves the person vulnerable. People on the other side say Ashley is just another conspiracy theorist. They say that the studies from 2000 she quoted was discredited by a 2005 study, which proved that 5G was not dangerous for people. They also noted the fact that Wuhan was only one of 16 Chinese cities that received the 5G internet at the same time. However, this argument did not convince the Brits, who returned to the Middle Ages and, in fear and panic, began to burn 5G towers. And the final theory, circling around one of the richest and most influential people on the planet, Bill Gates. If you're struggling to understand how Bill Gates fits into this, you'll have to go back to October 2019. In this month, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation worked with the World Economy Forum and the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Safety to see how well we were prepared to deal with an epidemic. In a strange sequence of events, COVID-19 virus appeared 2 months later. Conspirators say that this program was a prelude to the impending outbreak that all 3 organizations had planned from the start. Meanwhile, the Johns Hopkins Health Safety Center denies any link between this event and the COVID-19 epidemic. Bill Gates predicted the coronavirus outbreak, including the part that the virus will appear in China. You could see that in the Netflix show Inside Bill's Brain, Decoding Bill Gates, released in 2019. Conspiracy theorists supported their claim by the fact that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation had previously provided funding for the British Purebright Institute, which had a patent for a coronavirus vaccine. They're saying that Bill Gates teamed up with the institute to start an epidemic so that he could sell vaccines. The Purebright Institute denies any connection between their organization and the COVID-19 virus. Their press secretary said that they only examine viruses that affect birds, not humans, and their vaccine doesn't work on humans either. Despite how groundless this theory is, in 1 week, Bill Gates has gone from being a well-known philanthropist to a global villain. When it comes to these stories, the most important thing to do is ask yourself if they make any sense. As fascinating as conspiracy theories are, remember that they're just theories, often not based on true facts. And what seems to be at first a cliched theory can actually cause a big fallout in our society. Let us know what you think about them. Which one do you think is true? And do you have your own theories? Thank you for watching, and see you next time. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Have a great day.